The promise is Scottish promise to young people who have been care experienced, and it came from research and evidence from experience of over 5,000 care experienced children, their families, other people who were involved, and it's ensuring that their voice is heard.
To me, the promise is affirmative action targeted at the right people.
The Angus promise should be well known by everybody who's working with children and young people, not only people who are working with specific age groups.
The promise is just kind of like the foundation of how we want to work with young people in the future.
Well, I think all the evidence is that the outcomes for care experienced young people are not as good as other young people. And that to me is an imbalance that needs to be challenged and needs to be redressed. The promise provides a pretty easy way for folk to get their heads around what can be done to change that situation.
Brambles Cottage is a care home for children and young people, and keeping the promise is at the heart of everything that they do.
Our young people have been actively involved in the promise since it came about. We obviously worked alongside some of our younger residents in Logan to devise a mural, because visually they can really respond to that.
A lot that came from the young people when we were doing the mural was about family. That was the biggest thing that they had. They want to keep in contact with their family, they want to hear about their family. They need to know what has happened and where they've come from and what their future is.
Promise is all about relationships, and a lot of our young people, it's about the relationship they have with their teacher, with their caretaker, the dinner lady. It's about those relationships that they have, and about cultivating those relationships, and that's about getting to know them, knowing what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what their vulnerabilities are. I think it's looking behind behaviours that our young people can exhibit, and thinking that school must be quite a scary place for some of our young people. We need to have safe zones, we need to be creative in what we're doing, and have maybe opportunities for young people to discreetly say I'm not managing, and allow them to go to other places where it's not necessarily academic skills that they need to do, but that they can do other things that are equally as important, but actually keeps them invested in the school, gives them a routine and a purpose as well. But it's really important that as caregivers and advocates for these young people, that we ensure that they have access to education, they have access to college opportunities, they have the same opportunities that all young people have.
The Strathmore Centre offers short-term residential respite to a maximum of 4 children or young people with disabilities, as well as additional daycare provision.
So I think one of the things that we had been speaking about was the right to a bright future. A lot of the work that we undertake at Strathmore is in relation to looking at what our young people's future will be like. So we are heavily involved in support of transitions for young people, whether that be from a transition from nursery to primary school to secondary school, or secondary school into college or day centres, or whatever further education they're going into.
The Strathmore Centre provides much needed support and respite for the families that use the service.
We do this by providing short breaks, which gives the families and other children within the family time to have a break from their meaningful caring role. In addition as well, in cases it benefits the children and young people, because they are able to participate within Strathmore in activities that are meaningful to them, and they are supported to learn life skills. So as a service, we promote the family and keep the promise by ensuring that we do everything possible to support the family and the children and young person to stay within the family home.
Horizon also put the promise at the heart of everything that they do.
Do you want me to stand up? Would that be easier?
Yeah, stand up so we can see it, Raj.
Do you want me to tell you a bit about that badge? So this time last year we were called the Through Care Aftercare team, but on the back of the promise and trying to destigmatise language for care experienced young people, we decided to change the name, and we chose Horizon, and our young people voted on the name.
Horizon provide a through care and aftercare service for young people in Angus. They recently set up a service to provide support for new mothers who were care experienced.
We have tea and we play and we spend time together, and the women support each other. Partners can be invited along too, and it's really good role modelling for them, because they're learning in a really quiet way from each other.
This group has been a real success. Just before Christmas, Horizon got a photographer to take some family pictures of the group.
This is the promise in action.
Having
like mum and children's professional photographs that they could then give out as Christmas cards or as part of, you know, because our young people didn't have that. All these things that we take for granted, they didn't have that.
I recently talked to girls, and they were speaking about the possibility of inviting other women who have care experience who are pregnant to join our group, and then they can receive the support and guidance from the mums who are already there to help them to manage well as they progress through their pregnancies, and then they can come to the group too. So it's running well.
We'll work hard to try and sustain positive relationships so that young people can stay where they are for longer, because we know that the outcomes are often better in those circumstances. Staying in their current placement, you know, wherever that may be, with a view to helping them move on when they're ready to, and not moving on because they have to.
Angus Independent Advocacy provides a service for young people, and are very aware of how important the promise is.
So it's important that any corporate parents in Angus who are keeping the promise are familiar with advocacy and how they can refer into the service, and that anyone can refer in, so it doesn't have to go through the social work department.
Advocacy is a legal requirement within the children's hearing system, so they have to be offered advocacy. We support them to explore their options, and we help them in feeling empowered enough. They're feeling empowered to speak for themselves, and if they don't feel comfortable in meetings and stuff to attend or to speak for themselves, we can attend on their behalf.
The children and young people are always central to all work that we do, so it's their needs, it's their views that we like to support.
Of course, a film about the promise would be incomplete without hearing the voices of care-experienced young people.
So my name's Dale, this is Kimberly, and this is Tash, and we're participation assistants for Who Cares Scotland. So I think when you look at the care system and ways to change, in fact, when you look at anything and that has problems that you want to change, the grassroots, you have to start at the grassroots. And the people that have experienced it and gone through it, who have been emotionally shaped by it, they're the ones that are going to push the needle for change more because they've experienced it. So the only way to get to the source of the problem is by going from the young people, getting what they've experienced, and so I think that's number one important thing.
I just think it's important to let care experienced people know how important their voice is and how powerful their opinions can be. Like, if they want something changed and they think something isn't good enough, they can go, they can go to their teachers, they can go, find Who Cares, on the website, reach out to us, reach out to your MP, just reach out to someone and be like, I want this changed, this isn't good enough, because, you don't realise, but, I'm telling you now, as a care experienced person, you have so much influence over the way that your life can go now. It's totally different to what it used to be even a couple of years ago when I was in care. You're such a powerful influence, and if you want something done, just ask for it. And I know it might take a while, but I feel like you can change things you want changed, because we used to be participants and now we work for Who Cares, and we're making the changes that we wanted 5 years ago. So I feel like, just go for it, and the worst they can say is no, and if they say no, then try again.
I think the promise means to me is just a structure in place for everybody to see, because it's not just an internal thing, everyone can look it up now.
We've been doing a lot of different types of engagement work, going and meeting young people in spaces that they're far more comfortable with, whether that's down at their local community sports hub or in the college where we were making pizzas with them, and building a relationship that then develops the trust that they feel they can share their needs with corporate parents, and then we are a lot more aware of and understanding of exactly what it is that they need from us as a board.
The spotlight is on certain people now to focus on what the promise says. It's well, maybe corporate parents aren't doing something, and you'd be like, well, it's in the promise, so why aren't you doing it?
We need to show the young people that we are here to keep that promise.
Everyone knows what's expected and what has to be achieved.
Yeah, it allows us to give the best so that our young people can be the best that they can be.